Humans can change the ecosystem in different ways. The four that we will talk about are deforestation, pollution, biomagnification, and the introduction of new species. Deforestation occurs in a terrestrial ecosystem. It is when we cut down trees, which result in the reduction of habitats. Pollution is affecting the air and water. The water is being affected by the runoff from the industrial and agriculture chemicals. The sewage and agriculture chemicals and sewage and eventually enters the food chain. Please note, if you hear of someone complaining of farmers entering chemicals into our water, it's not exactly true. The main cause of nitrates entering our water is actually coming from homeowners who are fertilizing their lawns more than once a year. Now, if you are into this, you know that Jacksonville is now pulling from our aquifer. Well, Jacksonville's covered with houses, and these houses have to have perfect lawns. A lot of their neighborhoods require it, or they get fined if their lawn does not look perfect. These people are fertilizing their lawns way too much. Those nitrates are entering our water more than, let's say, Jamie fertilizing his corn. They're causing more harm than someone like he is. We are polluting the air through three different ways. We're polluting the air through acid rain, which is nitrogen and sulfur and water. Carbonic acid, this changes the pH, so it's CO2 in ocean water. And then greenhouse gases, which is CO2 trapped in the warms the planet up. Biomagnification is when chemicals enter the food chain. Humans can also introduce new species on purpose or by accident. Some examples of this are love bugs and lionfish. Love bugs, they say, were introduced by the University of Florida. This is not true. They are natives of Texas, well, actually South America, and they came up through Texas, Louisiana, and then traveled their way over here. Lionfish, people are putting them into fish tanks. Well, then they get sick of them and they're dumping them in the ocean. Well, now they're consuming and they're destroying all of our lobster because when the lobster touches them, the things on them end up shocking them or whatever, introducing a poison, and it ends up killing them. A non-native species is one that does not belong in an ecosystem. An invasive species is one that is non-native that has established itself in the ecosystem. An example of an invasive species are, let's say, pythons in the Everglades. Climate is something that occurs over a long period of time, compared to weather, which occurs daily. Outside, the weather right now is hot. Doesn't mean the climate's hot. Global warming is when carbon dioxide levels are increasing, causing the planet as a whole to warm up. Climate change is a change in the climate at the local, regional, continental, and global scale. With climate change, parts of the earth may get colder instead of warmer. Both of these impact the lifestyle of the biodiversity at the ecosystem level. Like I said, this is the longest unit we will probably ever cover. And here we start with another part of it. Populations and humans in the biosphere. So how are we affecting the biosphere as a whole? Populations consist of all the individuals of a species that live together in a defined area. Some examples include a city could be a population, a state could be a population, the country is a population, bacteria living in your intestines are a population, fish in a pond, bears in the Ocala National Park, and so forth. Populations tend to grow because they have multiple offspring over their lifetime. If we didn't have babies, we wouldn't be able to grow. Population size is the number of individuals. So how many people are there? You drive into a new town and it says population of whatever. The small populations will most likely go extinct due to random natural disturbances or inbreeding. Some people say, small towns, they inbreed, same thing. Population density is the number of individuals in a given area. If the population is spaced apart, the chances of an encounter decreases, therefore reproduction decreases. Dispersion is the way individuals of a population are arranged in space. Population growth will either increase or decrease. It would decrease due to there being more deaths or a higher death rate, and this is known as immigration with an E. Note that E means exit, you're leaving, so you can tell the difference between both immigrations. The E immigration is exiting, the I immigration is coming into. So the population can increase with more births or a birth rate. Again, that is I immigration coming into, E immigration is exiting out. Please, please, please make sure you note the difference between the two. You can model population growth through two different types of curves. The J curve, or the exponential growth curve, and the S curve, or the logistic growth curve. The J curve model shows that the population growth size is steadily increasing. There are two factors that affect the growth of a population: density-dependent factors and density-independent factors. Density-dependent is when the population density reaches a certain level. These are caused by predators, disease, available resources, and food. Density-independent factors can affect a population regardless of density. These are caused by environment conditions like snow, freezing, blizzards, fire, and wind. As a result of these two factors, growth slows and population may stabilize. The population reaches the max number allowed in an area. Carrying capacity is the population size that an environment can sustain. The S curve takes into account declining resources available. If the population is below the curve, growth rate increases, meaning that the birth rate is greater than the death rate. If the population is above the curve, death rate will increase and population declines, meaning that the birth rate is less than the death rate. When you reach the carrying capacity, the birth rate is equal to the death rate. So do you think, as human population, have we increased or decreased in the last 100 years? You're going to think about these questions, and the other question is the human population graph a J exponential or S curve? If you read on your notes, you will see that you will work on these as an individual, and you will create a graph showing what you believe. Also, there's some other questions that follow it as well. Now that you've answered the questions, what about deaths? Our death rates have declined quite a bit, but why do we think so? Well, technology, biotechnology, for those of you that are in it. Death rates have declined due to medicines. We're creating medicines to keep these people alive. We're creating chemo to keep the cancer patients alive. We're changing everything so these people can continue to live. Sanitation. We wash our hands. We have antibacterial soap. Think of how they're cleaning, those of you that took the bloodborne pathogens, how much we've changed with that, how we clean things, how we take care of things. All of these reasons are why death rates have declined today compared to, let's say, 10 years ago. Our ecosystem consists of two different types of resources. We have renewable and non-renewable. Renewable resources can be produced or replaced by a healthy ecosystem. These consist of your trees, water, wind, and solar power. Non-renewable resources are natural processes that we cannot replenish within a small amount of time. These consist of your coal, oil, and natural gases. Biodiversity is the total number of all the genetically based variety of organisms in the biosphere or a particular area, your habitat. The benefits to biodiversity is that it adds value to the ecosystem and it benefits medicine and agriculture. The threats to biodiversity are habitat destruction, overhunting, and the introduction of new species, non-native and invasive, and then pollution and chemical and climate change. Well, I can't believe it, but we finished that unit finally. The next big thing is that we're going to cover a lab, and it's going to be the oil spill lab. There are videos that go with this lab. It's highly advised that you do not miss it. We'll watch the videos, we'll do some questions, and then we will actually perform the lab. It is a long lab. Should be able to finish it in one day, hopefully, but we will see. Don't forget that you have questions to answer at the end of this. They need to be done, as well as the YouTube videos. You are responsible for those when you turn in your packet. Do not forget that. I'll let you know when the test is in class. Thanks. Also, real quick, please note that if you're in honors, there is a mandatory project for this unit. And if you're in regulars, it can count as extra credit. It is designing your own ecosystem. Everything is listed in your packet as to what you need to do to complete it. There should be maybe even a rubric that goes with it. I'm not positive if I posted that or not, or if I just told you in the packet as to what you will be graded on. But make sure you get that done by the day that I have assigned.